Hi, this is Helmut from CQG in Germany. I'm an application specialist at CQG, and today I want to show you some functionality in the CQG backtesting, how to use parameters to change settings of the trading systems from outside, and also to use the trade system optimizer in CQG backtesting. Okay, you're looking on a CQG integrated client, and we have a basic trading system on here. And if I look at the code of the trading system by clicking here on the formula toolbox again, and on trading system, I have this trading system on called MACES. This is basically the trading system we have created on the very first intro video, just when a 7-period moving average crosses above a 21-period moving average, it would trade long for the long position, and if it crosses below the moving average, it would close the long position and it would trade short. It's a very simple example of how to understand the different steps of creating the trading system. Now we want to do a little addition to this. If we have the idea of changing the moving average, so we have the result of the trading system now on our screen and think like, hey, maybe the 7 and 21 period moving average is not the optimum. Maybe we can use a 3-period and a 10-period moving average, or we decided to use any other lengths of moving averages later. The way it is now, we always have to go into the coding of the trading system and go into the code, highlight the code, change the setup, and change the moving average from here. So you might end up having multiple trading systems. They do exactly the same, but they have different lengths of moving averages. There's a much better way to do this, and I show you how. Here on the CQG side, we have those params, the param section. So when you click on params, it opens another window that only belongs to this trading system. So the parameters we're creating are only tied to that trading system. They're not universal. So I can go ahead and click on New and give each parameter just a name. And for this example, we're using a short moving average crossing above a long moving average. I make it really simple. I call the first parameter short, and I make that a default value of 7. If I want to make it really nice with row and column header, I can put some descriptions in here and some notes as well. But I leave it blank for now. Then I just click on New and make a parameter for the long moving average. What was in the beginning was 21. So I'm using the same numbers as I did in the hard code. And now I'm doing a little step ahead. I thought to myself, I might want to put a stop loss into the trading system as well. So if the trading system goes a certain amount of dollars against me, I want to get out of the trade. So I just proactively create another parameter, and I call that stop. And maybe let's make that $5,000. We will see if that numbers fit or match in a second. So I just created those 3 parameters. You can do as many as you want. There's no technical limit to it. So you can create many parameters. If you have a lot of parameters, of course, it would make sense to use the nodes and the column headers to give a little bit more description to it. If you use the same principle of how you name your parameters all along with your next trading system and with your next, you see the name and you already know what it is. So once we created those parameters and we click OK, we could actually right-click on the trading system, like on the P&L or on any of the trades, and go to Modify MA System, and these parameters would show up here. Here's the 7, the 21, and the stop loss. Unfortunately, they don't do anything yet. So they're created, but they're not tied to the coding yet. So we need to do that in the next step. Just click OK here to get out of this window. So on the next step, everywhere where I hard-coded here the 7-period moving average and the 21-period moving average, I need to substitute those hard-coded numbers by the parameters. This is done by highlighting the whole code. Even if it's a more lengthy, more complex code, in the signal portion, you can highlight everything all together and click on the setup button below here. This opens the setup box. So first of all, you can of course change the period now from here to 10, for example, but this would still be hard-coded into the code. To find the parameter, this is actually not so easy. There's no hint. You need to remember that. You actually need to right-click in the period field. There's no triangle or drop-down menu or anything that gives you that hint, unfortunately, but if you right-click in here, it shows you the parameters we created. So now I clicked on the 21 first, so I make that the parameter with the name long and click OK, and you see that it fits in here now. And I go to the first I need to right-click in here first and make that the short param. So now if the short crosses above the long, that would trade. If I click OK now, this would automatically travel into the coding. So you can read it in the coding that it actually uses the params in here. Don't try to type anything in here. So if you think like you shortcut it, you don't want to go via the user interface dialog using setup, you can actually not type in here. I cannot change it or anything. I need to go via the user interface dialog. Unfortunately, I didn't thought in the beginning when I created the trading system, I didn't thought about putting those parameters in the first place. So I have to remember doing these steps now everywhere where I've used the hard-coded 7 and 21. So this is the long entry. This is done. I would go to the short entry, and as you can see, there's still 7 and 21 in there. So we quickly do that again. Highlight everything, go to setup, right-click. This is the short parameter. Right-click on the 21. This is the long parameter. Click OK. It travels correctly into the coding. We have used those moving average in the exits as well. So I would go to exits and on reverse under signal, and here we go again. It says 7 against 21. We highlight everything, right click. 7 is the short, 7 is the short. 21 is the long. Click OK. And last but not least, I have to do the same thing in the other exit. Go to setup, right click, this is the short, right click, and this is the long. Okay, so now we have substituted the hard-coded 7 and 21 into the params we created beforehand. Now two things can happen. You can, let me close the toolbox for the moment. I used the same numbers as I did in the hard code, so when you close the toolbox, the trading system should not change. It should exactly stay the same. If all of a sudden your P&L of the trading system widely jumps or anything goes off, that means you probably have done something wrong. If it stays the same, that's why I use the same numbers. This is like a little pre-test. It seems to be okay. So now I can right-click either on the P&L or on any element of the trading system and going modify moving average system. And I can say, hey, how this works with a 3 period versus a 10 period moving average, for example. When I click apply, it will recalculate this trading system immediately with the new settings. And if I want to go back to the 7 and maybe make it 35, hit apply again, we get recalculated the trading system going back to the default to 21. I can hit apply. Apply has the benefit that the box stays open, so I can play around with those params and switch them around. And when I'm done, I click OK. OK includes apply, so you don't have to hit apply and then OK. If you hit OK, that applies it automatically. So the first good thing we have, we can change that trading system from outside. Let's go back into the coding and add one more feature to it. So if we go to the formula toolbox again, we are on our trading system, we are on the moving average system. We created one more param and called it stop. Double check that's in there. Here it is, we called it stop, and the value of this param is 5,000. So when we go to the exit section of the trading system, and I click new to create another exit for this trading system, The custom exit we created in the first video is always one you create for your own. You put in the code. It's usually the opposite of the entry or something like that. But we also have a couple of canned exits in there. So exits that happen so often, or they were used so often, we don't want you that you have to program that every time you need a simple stop loss or money management exit. We don't want you to create that over and over and over again. That's why we canned them. So we can money management is your classic stop loss. So if your trade goes a certain amount of dollars against you, you get stopped out. Break even is an exit that when your trade already starts making some money and you start losing money, it gets you out of the trade. This is a trading stop, like a certain amount of dollars. The stop trails behind you. So if you make profit, the stop's going up. There's also %. You can define a profit target. And we can automatically set a stop on the high and low of the entry bar. So these are canned exits that can be established with just one mouse click. So in this example, we need a classical stop loss, and this is called money management. I usually call these exit SL for stop loss. And I do that the same way all over and over and over again. No matter what trading system I have, even if it's 10 years old, and I find the exit name SL in it, I know exactly what it is. So if you keep your names the same way, it's much easier to navigate through the different trading systems. So by default, we create a stop loss trading system, stop loss exit. It's called money management. We can put a dollar amount in here. So I can put $5,000 in here and click OK, and it would create that exit for me. But instead of hard coding again a number, I could also right click here again, and again there's no hint that there's anything behind this box, but instead of putting the 5,000 in, I can put the stop in. So now I'm creating the exit, and if I click OK, it actually creates the exit for me, and CQG does the coding for me. So all this, like the open position and average entry price minus and here's my variable stop. This is done automatically. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to program it myself. It's kind of done automatically. I do the same thing on the short. The trading system changed because we added this extra stop into it. We'll look into that in a second. So on the short entries, I'm on the exit section. I click on new. Again, I call it stop loss. It should be a money management. I right click in the field and I use the same parm, like the $5,000. Maybe that's too tight. Maybe we get stopped out too early. Click OK. CQG does the coding for me. I don't have to worry about the coding. Everything is done. And now we close the box. Again, here's the same thing. You can apply. That will apply the changes you made to the trading system. If you hit close, it will apply and close at the same time. As I guessed, we're trading, in my trading system, I traded 7 lots of mini S&Ps on a daily continuation chart. So the $5,000 stop loss is way too close, so we get stopped out almost every trade. So now I can go to any trade, right click on it, and go to modify study parameters. Here's like everything we have here, and maybe make that a $15,000 stop loss for 7 lot. That's still not enough. Make it maybe $35,000 on the daily chart. And I also turned on graphically the stop loss, so we can actually see what's happening. So we went long here. The market actually developed in our direction, but we got stopped out here. Got short, we got stopped out here. So it kind of protects us, but it also sometimes stops out trades that were actually really good for us. So we can work it out what the best stop would be. In order to disregard the stop for the moment, for the next step I'm going to do, I just put a very high number in it, maybe make it $150,000. I'm just putting the stop far away to disregard it for the moment. We can play with it later. So putting far away is at least like turning it off at the same time. Okay. You can see graphically where the stop is. If the market really crashes or something really bad happens, we still have a stop loss in place. Now the next step would be, instead of manually changing those parameters around, playing with a stop loss, playing with a short moving average, playing with a long moving average, We can let the computer work it out. What's the best for this trading system, for this market, for this time frame? And for this matter, we created a CQG optimizer. So you can right-click on the P&L curve, or again on any of the trades, you can right-click on it, and you can select Optimize from here. If I click here, it opens the Trade System Optimizer for me, or short-term TSO. It's a window, so I can make it a little bit smaller. When I want to optimize something, I need to specify first what I do want to optimize. So if I click on Specify, it opens that extra window, TSO Setup, Trade System Optimizer Setup. And because I came from the chart, and I always work that way also with auto trading and things, because I came off the chart, the system already knew I had the MASIS on, I had the mini S&P chart on, I had a daily continuation chart on, and because it knows already these settings, it knows what kind of parameters we have in place. So now I can check the ones we want to optimize on. Let's say we want to optimize only the moving average, and we go to this stop loss later. We play with that later. So the short moving average could technically be anything between like a 1 period moving average, which is just the close of the bar, basically. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it could be a 30 period moving average. Why not? And we would like to test that in one step. So we would test a 1 period, a 2 period, a 3 period, and so on and so forth. So the short period the short period moving average, the long period moving average, in theory, it should be longer than the short, but it doesn't really matter. It could still be like a 1. Maybe we get a funny result when our idea is actually reversed. Sometimes it happens. And maybe the long could be all the way up to 50 period moving average. Again, here I would test it in like 1 steps. So now having 30 iterations of the short moving average and having 50 iterations of the long moving average, so the total number of calculations we need to do is 1,500 steps. So it would calculate our trading system 1,500 times to figure out what is the best set. We can optimize on all of the statistics we have in the trading system with this drop-down menu. So every one of the statistics, like your average drawdown, your percent winners, your profit to loss ratio, any of the statistics could be used for optimizing the trading system. In this case, we just want to make money, so we take the total net profit for this example. Of course, we want to maximize it. If you're optimizing on the drawdown, you potentially want to minimize your drawdown, so you would use this one here. So we're maximizing the total net profit for this trading system, and we have one more thing to that. There's an algorithm to be used. So there's exhaustive means your computer will calculate every iteration of the 1,500, which is totally fine if you have steps. 1,500 is not a lot, it should go pretty fast. If you have anything that's maybe under 50,000 or so, you can do exhaustive and let the computer run for a couple of hours. That will be fine. You can imagine if you add more parameters to it, this number gets high very, very quickly. And for this matter, we have also created a so-called genetic algorithm where it doesn't do brute force and calculates every iteration. It does do some mathematical tricks to not create this. If you click on the parameters for that, I don't want to go into details what that all means in detail. That's rather a very complex topic on the mathematics. The only thing I would do, let's say I have 1 million different iterations. The only parameter I would change, how many steps do I allow the optimizer to calculate? So I would something guess around 10%. So if you have like 1 million iterations, let him at least calculate 100,000 steps or maybe 50,000 steps. That's 5% to get to a proper result. Don't mess with the others unless you exactly know what it is. The number of steps is pretty good. In our case, we don't use the genetic, we use the exhaustive, so we would calculate every result of the trading system. Once we have set this up, we close the setup box by just hitting close, and then we click start, and you can see that the 1,500 steps will be calculated within like roughly a minute or so. It doesn't take too long, and even if you have 10 times that, 100,000 steps, and you need to wait 10 minutes for the results, it's not too bad. Okay, the trade system optimizer has finished its job, so it recalculated all the iterations of the trading system in about 2 minutes, in this case with 15,000 steps. And we can have a look at the results. So what you get on this table is, on the front section, you see the parameters, like the results. By default, because we optimized on the total net profit, it shows the trading system with the highest net profit on top. And if you scroll down, you get to the lower results. You can see all the statistics together here in the trading system. So you see your open position, your total trade count, and everything with it. All the statistics we have are part of the optimization process here. You can now, we optimized for total net profit, but we can still sort by any of the other columns if you want to. And exactly what I suspected it could happen, it found actually the best result of the trading system, making $919,000 with our trading system, is actually the reverse, the other way around. So the short moving average being a 4-period moving average and the long period being a 2-period moving average. So it actually reversed exactly what we wanted to do in the first place. So that can happen at times. But I would just not jump blindly on the first best result, saying, okay, that's the best result, let's use that. I would also look at other statistics and to determine whether this trading system is good or not. The profit to max draw ratio is interesting, or how much drawdown it actually did. So you can look through the other statistics, which one you prefer of those trading systems, and then you can, let's say we take one of those. It's a little bit off the winner, but it keeps our spirit, the idea that the short moving average crosses above a longer moving average. We could take that trading system and just right click on it and tell the system, hey, give me a chart with those parameters. If I do that, it would actually change our chart in the background to those parameters. So I can graphically see how this would potentially look like. I can like squeeze it together and look for the individual trades and whatnot. Let's bring the TSO back up. Also, what is an interesting thought on this table here, what you're looking for, you don't want to have parameter sets that are not in line with their neighbors. So if you have things that are jumping out, so everything is here 4, 7, 8, 7, 7, 8, 7, 8, 8, 8, 7, and then you have all of a sudden like a 10 or 11. That would be some kind of warning signal to me. I would think like, okay, this is like of the area of slight error. So if it's up 1 or 2, that's fine. That's a higher up or down. Also, we have a 3-dimensional view for this. I only jump very quickly into that. We can do a graphical representation of this, and we want to look at the total net profit, of course, and we want to see the two short and the long moving averages, and we get a graphical representation of the trading system. So we have the short moving average on this axis, and we have the long moving average on this axis, and we have the total net profit we make on the vertical axis. This is actually not to look for the best result and go in here and try to figure out, okay, I take this one, which one is it? It's more to give you an idea of the stability of the trading system. What you don't want to see here is a spike like this, where you have a high profitable result if you use exactly the set of parameters. But if you're one step away, if you take one moving average period smaller or higher, then you're falling off the cliff and you're having bad results. So this is more like a stability view than picking the information. Just as a little side note, could be interesting to play with that. Jumping back to the table. So we created the table, we have optimized our trading system, and let's say we want to go with a 7 and 41, which are already put here on the chart in the background, so I could close the trade system optimizer from here. and we see the trades here, and we see all the statistics of the trading system. I didn't optimize for the stop loss. This can be done in the same way. So you could again right click, you go to optimize, you specify. It knows already everything it needs to know, which moving average system is on. It knows that it's on 742. And then I could only check this box here for the stop loss to find out what's the best stop loss. So that could be, let's say, anything between $50,000 and maybe $150,000, which is far away. In this case, we don't have to do $1 steps. So 50,000, 50,000 and $1. Maybe it's good enough if we test that. Maybe even every $1,000. That would be good enough for a test. So I can just test that one parameter. Again, total net profit. It's only 100 calculations. Close, start, and it would just check whether there's a better match of a stop loss to make the trading system even better. So the best result came up here with like a 79,000, 86, 90,000. So we don't have to have the wide stop loss. We can close the stop loss a little bit. Again, I changed that to the chart immediately, and I can graphically see how that looks. So we have a trade here. It puts a stop loss in. If the trade doesn't go in our favor, this is actually the reverse, but if the trade wouldn't go in our favor, we could see when we get stopped out. This was a pretty fast ride through the changing parameters from the outside to your trading system and the trade system optimizer. I hope you could follow along and you could give it a shot and create some parameters and control your trading system from outside. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, please contact us at CQG. Thanks.